Okay, so these notes are should already be in your journal or somewhere for you to access, but I just wanted to review, kind of just talk about them again. So a triangle is a polygon with 3 sides and 3 angles. A polygon is a closed plane, two-dimensional figure with 3 or more sides. You can name a triangle by its angles, right, acute, and obtuse. And you can name a triangle by its sides, equilateral, isosceles, and scalene. So the assignment I gave yesterday was kind of tricky and weird. So we're going to kind of do that today, but we're going to do it through an ed puzzle. So this will be graded. So make sure you answer the questions and follow through to the end. Okay? All right, so an acute triangle is a triangle with 3 acute angles. So if they're showing you these little marks, they're asking you to name it by its angles. Okay? So all angles are acute, so we call this angle ABC. All right? Then we have the obtuse triangle. An obtuse triangle is a triangle with 1 obtuse angle. So if 1 is obtuse, the other 2 are going to be acute. Okay? But because it has 1 obtuse angle, it is an obtuse triangle. Then you have the right triangle, which is a triangle with 1 right angle. So I have a right angle here. So these 2 are acute, okay? But because I have the right angle, it's a right triangle. So those are the angles that you use, okay? Those are the ways to classify triangles by their angles. Now, classifying them by their sides. An equilateral triangle is a triangle with 3 equal sides. That means all the sides are the same. So they either give you the measurements, like this one, 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters, or it'll give you these little identical marks. All 3 marks are the same, indicating that all the sides are the same length. So it is an equilateral triangle. Okay, an isosceles triangle is a triangle with 2 equal sides. Okay, so 2 sides the same. On this one, it gives you 2 markings that are the same, indicating that these 2 sides are identical. And this one has only 1 mark, so it means it's different from those 2. Okay, so an isosceles, 2 eyes the same. Okay, so if you hold up the number 2 and point them to your eyes, 2 eyes that are the same, isosceles. Okay, that's kind of a little memory trick. And then scalene. Scalene is a triangle with no sides the same. That means everything is different. So, for instance, if these had measurements, this one might say 5 meters, 5 meters, and then 4 meters. So it could have the markings or it could have the measurements. On the scalene, it could be the same way. We'll say 4 meters, 6 meters, and 8 meters. All different measurements. So you're either looking at the measurements or you're looking at the markings. That indicates you're identifying it by its sides. Okay, so 2 sides the same is an isosceles. No sides is a scalene. All sides the same would be equilateral. Okay, well, let's look at the worksheet that we did. Okay, on the first one, it said identify each angle based on both angles and sides. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple, and then you're going to have to answer some on your own. So number 2, look at the measurements. All 3 measurements are different, so that means it would be a scalene. Okay, and then if you look closely at this angle right here, it is an obtuse angle. So it would be scalene, obtuse. And then you could add triangle to it if you want. This one is most obvious right here that it's a right angle. So it would be a right triangle. And then these markings here indicate that those 2 sides are the same. So it would also be an isosceles. So this one is a right isosceles triangle. Okay, look at number 4. 27 inches, 21 inches, and 30 inches. 27, 21, 30. They're all different. So that would be a scalene. Okay, and then this little box right here indicates that it is also a right. So it's a scalene right triangle, or a right scalene. It doesn't matter. There's no rule to the order. It's just it's just as long as you have the two correct names. Okay, so look at number 5. The markings indicate they're all the same. Okay, and then look at the angles. What 2 names would we give this triangle? Okay, it would be acute and it would be an equilateral. Okay, all right, number 6. So look at the measurements. Okay, and then look at the sides, 31, 38, 26. What 2 names would we give? Okay, this one would be acute because all those are acute angles, and then it would be scalene. Right? All acute angles and all sides are different, so it's scalene. Number 7. Notice the 2 sides here that are marked, and look at your angles. Be very careful. I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to say it's obtuse. I'll give you that part. So what's the other one? Okay, it is isosceles. And I don't care if you spell it right or not. But if you look closely, this angle right here is just a bit over 90 degrees. Right? Okay, number 8. There are your 3 measurements. And then look at your angles. It is an acute equilateral. Okay, number 9. Look at it. Notice what you have there. Okay, so it is a right scalene. Because this is a right angle, if it was going out further or shorter, it might be the same length, but it's not going to be. Okay, this line and this line are different. Okay, so this line is longer. All right, number 10. Notice your measurements. And then your angle. It's right isosceles. ISOSCELES. Lost track. Okay, and it's isosceles because 49 and 49 are the same, right? Okay, number 11. It gives you the angle measurements. Okay, so it is an obtuse because we have one obtuse angle. And since this one is 38 and this one is 29, this is also going to be a scalene because they're not going to be able to be the same, are they? All right, number 12. Notice your sides and your angles. All right, so it is an acute isosceles. Okay, I hope this is helping y'all understand this. All right, on the other side, it says based on angles or sides. So we're going to do either or. So number 2, let's do it by the sides. What kind of angle would that be? A triangle would that be? Okay, it's scalene. All the sides are different. Number 3, they're giving you the measurements. They're giving you the degrees. What kind of triangle would that be? It's an acute because they gave you angles. Number 4, they gave you an angle. So measure it by its angle. It is a right triangle. There's your right. Okay. Number 5, they gave you the sides. So let's measure it by its sides. Let's identify it by side. All sides are the same. It is an equilateral. Okay, number 6. They gave you the angle degrees. They're your degrees. So measure it by its angle. Okay, 130 degrees is obtuse. Number 7, again, they gave you the angle measurements. What kind of angle is triangle is that? 125 tells us it's obtuse. Number 8, there's nothing written there, but there's something that identifies it. What kind of triangle is this? Okay, you should have put right. Number 9, look at your measurements. What's the side length? What's the, are they the same or are they different? I would identify this one by its sides. It's an isosceles triangle. Number 10. Scaling. They gave you 3 different side measurements. So you're going to measure it by, identify it by its sides. Number 11. Is acute. They gave you the angle measurements, so you identify it by the angle. Number 12. Is equilateral. They gave you 3 markings to indicate that all 3 sides are the same. Okay, I hope that helps. Later on, I will send some notes about, or a video probably, on classifying quadrilaterals, and we'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow.